I love it. I love that intro. It has to be said. It's dead handy. Okay, so the next part of this WRC 3 coverage that we're continuing is interviews now with the physics guys and one of the environmental artists. I had a chat with a whole bunch of them, and I thank them for their time as well. It's nice insight to see where they are and where they're going to be going into the future as well. They certainly have their head on their shoulders, and I think really one thing we've learned about development, even for big studios, I mean, I think when you look at development, say, from Forza 2 to Forza 3 and Forza 4, even the big studios have to redevelop their resources, if you like, and channel them so that the right things get worked on. And I think that's something that Milestone have really worked on over the past year in developing WRC 3. But enough of my rambling. Here's a couple more interviews to look forward to. Hello viewers, so I'm joined here today by Stefano Lecchi, who's the physics programmer behind WRC3, all-important man. Obviously huge steps forward have been taken. Tell me about some of those steps now and what you've been working on.
Well, mainly respect to the previous games, so we did a great job on on suspensions, on the tire model that then behave more realistically, especially for a rally car. So we have done a lot of improvement for the terrain handling, so also soft terrains that behaves usually in a different way respect to tarmac or something like that, and also a great improvement on suspensions, because the car in the previous games weren't the car movements in the previous games weren't we weren't satisfied with that, and I think that we improved that in a good way.
What kind of research do you do? Do you go to real rally teams? Do you get real data? You know, what kind of data goes into something like this when you're designing the handling?
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a lot of feedbacks from rally drivers when we showed the game to them in various stages of the WRC Championship, and also Irvin made a lot of researches of how the real drivers takes curves, handle the throttle and so on. So how they really drive rally cars, and how a rally cars is different from other kind of vehicles. Irvin special way did the research for that, and then passed to me all the information, and together we worked on recreating the actual physics of a rally car.
Really, I suppose an important aspect is always tyre modelling. We're always hearing about tyre modelling. What can you tell me a bit about that, how you've moved forward on your tyre model?
Yeah, for the previous games we worked on some sort of Pacheco type tire model, which is I think one of the most common models used in the games industry, but we weren't satisfied because a lot of situation I think that they can be really handled in the correct way with their model, especially extreme situation when that usually happens in a rally race. So we try to focus on this kind of behaviors, and we developed a brand new tire model, which is, I think, is simpler and also much more realistic in a rally race.
Mm-hmm. Well, brilliant, Stefano. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you to you.
Okay, viewers, so now I'm talking to Michele Bertolini, who's one of the visual effects artists working on the environments and everything else on WRC3. So, WRC3, graphics have moved on a long way. There's a lot more detail in it this year. Obviously, it's always an uphill struggle, always trying to develop new things. Tell me the key areas that you've worked on and the biggest challenges to doing that.
I've worked mainly on VFX, so all the dust, all the dirt, the rocks coming out from the car, and on a single track Finland, and on all the vegetation rendering of all the game. As you can see, there are much more trees than in the previous one, and they have a better rendering because we worked really hard with the R&D department to have them look better and to have them lighter for performance purpose. So mainly I've spent quite a long time on making them looking like a forest, because in the right now, if you run in Finland, you're completely covered by vegetation. And what I can say about the level of detail, first two prototypes of the trees, I had to paint all the texture by hand, because taking them from the photos was not real enough. Looks like it makes no sense, but if you paint them by hand, the final result is better than having them from photos.
Well, I'm always curious. I wanted to talk to you because there's so much that goes into a video game that people don't know about, into scenery and stuff like that. Yeah, what kind of time and effort goes into developing a background on a track like that? I mean, how many people are involved in these things?
There are at least, with outsourcing and stuff, at least 3 people for each track, and it took like 3 months to take it from the beginning to the end, and without counting the design phase. Because our as graphic as art guys, we have to make the graphics. So there are some bug fixes that we make even on design, but it's mainly texturing and shading, and so it took 3 months with 3 people working full time.
So finally, then, if there was one element you were most proud of, what would it be?
The rendering of the cloud of dust in the back of the of the car, because I think that we really got a good amount of particles, and it looks like a big dust that you expect from a WRC car to have in the back in his queue.
Well, there you go. There you have it, viewers. It's about the dust. The dust actually does look very impressive, it has to be said.
Thanks.
Well, no, I don't must credit where it's due, but thanks for your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I hope you all found that insightful. And of course, the next part is the final part. It's going to be part of my roundup and a preview of our upcoming coverage on the Vita handheld version, as well as a little race between me and Irvin and some other bits and pieces that I wanted to discuss along the way. But that's it from me for now, viewers. As ever, more soon.